Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up over the next 1 hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi praises Yuva Shakti at the Viksit Bharat Young Leaders Summit as India celebrates National Youth Day. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar to represent India at Donald Trump's swearing-in as US President on the 20th of this month. European Union's foreign policy chief says EU foreign ministers will discuss lifting sanctions against Syria later this month. And India is ready for the world's largest spiritual gathering. Prayagraj is all decked up to host Mahakumbh 2025. First up, on National Youth Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the Viksit Bharat Young Leaders Dialogue 2025 at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. In a series of firsts, Prime Minister Modi engaged with 3,000 dynamic young leaders, spending the entire day with them. He highlighted the vibrant energy of India's youth and encouraged them to pursue big dreams. The event is part of his initiative to involve youth in shaping the nation's future, fostering a deeper connection between governance and youth aspirations.
On the occasion of National Youth Day, commemorating the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the Viksit Bharat Young Leaders Dialogue 2025 at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi on Sunday. PM Modi engaged with 3,000 dynamic young leaders from across India. In his address to the young leaders, Prime Minister Modi delivered a special message stating that achieving big dreams is not an impossible task.
बड़े सपने देखना, बड़े संकल्प लेना और उन्हें तय समय में पूरा करना असंभव नहीं है। किसी भी देश को आगे बढ़ने के लिए बड़े लक्ष्य तय करने ही होते हैं।
National Youth Day is celebrated annually on the 12th of January to mark the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda. A philosopher, religious teacher, and social reformer, Vivekananda is renowned for promoting interfaith awareness and introducing Hinduism to the world. His iconic speech at the 1893 Chicago Parliament of Religions remains a source of pride. The Prime Minister visited an exhibition at Bharat Mandapam where youth presented innovative ideas and solutions to address some of India's most pressing challenges. PM Modi also interacted with the participants and saw their projects. The Viksit Bharat Young Leaders Dialogue is in line with PM Modi's Independence Day call to involve 100,000 youth in politics without political affiliations, offering them a national platform to turn their ideas for a Viksit Bharat into reality. Prime Minister Modi emphasized his strong bond of trust with India's youth, noting that they are shaping the country's future. He recalled the G20 event at Bharat Mandapam, where world leaders discussed global issues, while India's youth are now planning the nation's next 25 years. He also shared an anecdote about meeting young athletes, one of whom referred to him as Param Mitra, highlighting the deep connection between him and the youth.
कुछ महीने पहले मैं अपने निवास पर कुछ युवा खिलाड़ियों से मिला था और मैं उनसे गप्पे सप्पे कर रहा था, बातें कर रहा था, तो एक खिलाड़ी ने खड़े होकर के कहा कि मोदी जी, दुनिया के लिए आप भले प्रधानमंत्री होंगे, पीएम होंगे, लेकिन हमारे लिए तो पीएम का मतलब है परम मित्र।
During the event, Prime Minister Modi engaged in activities aimed at inspiring and empowering future leaders. He released a compilation of top essays on themes like technology, sustainability, women empowerment, manufacturing, and agriculture. In a unique gesture, the Prime Minister joined young leaders for lunch, allowing them to share their ideas and aspirations with him. Narayan Singh's report for DD India.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will be representing the country at the swearing-in ceremony of President-elect Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States on the 20th of this month. The Ministry of External Affairs has said on Sunday that the External Affairs Minister will also have meetings with representatives of the incoming Trump administration during his visit to the US. The minister will be attending the ceremony on the invitation of the Trump-Vance Inaugural Committee. Also, Dr. Jaishankar will be on an official visit to Spain on the 13th and 14th of this month. This will be his first visit as External Affairs Minister to Spain. During the visit, Dr. Jaishankar will meet the leadership of Spain and hold discussions with his counterparts, Manuel Alvarez, on the entire gamut of bilateral relations and regional and global matters of mutual interest. The External Affairs Minister will also address the 9th Annual Conference of Spanish Ambassadors and meet the Indian community. And now to all the developments that are coming in the wake of the unveiling of the Mahakumbh 2025, the largest gathering of humans on the planet in Prayagraj. Now, the Mahakumbh in Prayagraj is all set to begin on Monday with the first Amrit Snan or nectar bath. Millions of devotees, pilgrims and visitors have arrived in the city for the event, which will continue till the 26th of February. The government has made all arrangements to ensure that the event is safe, secure and memorable. Mahakumbh 2025 in Prayagraj will be the world's largest cultural and spiritual gathering, with nearly 450 million devotees expected to attend. Security measures have been strengthened at temples and key sites in Mahakumbh Nagar, or the city of the Mahakumbh, to ensure the safety of devotees. A 7-layer security is in place for the grand event. Police have also roped in advanced technology, including underwater drones and AI-enabled cameras. Let me now take you across to my colleague Siddharth Bhardwaj, joining us from Prayagraj. Good evening to you, Siddharth. Are all preparations in place for the start of the world's largest spiritual gathering over 45 days?
Gautam, a very good evening to you from the holy land of Prayagraj, and global interest, and we can see influx of international media here, from TV to content creators to vloggers. All are here to document the experience. In fact, the scholars too are studying the impact of such large-scale gathering. So all in all, the scale of this gathering combined with its religious significance is making it a global fascination, something which the world wants to learn. As I also mentioned that this is the largest religious gathering on earth. Around 450 to 500 million people are expected to come here to take holy dip in the holy waters of Triveni Sangam, which is a confluence of river Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati.
Now, what can you tell us, Siddharth, about what sort of interest has the Mahakumbh generated worldwide? Have a lot of international news and TV media houses, vloggers and scholars descended on Prayagraj to take the unfolding experience of the Mahakumbh to different parts of the world.
Holy land of Prayagraj, and certainly the preparations are in full swing. I'm standing here at the entry gate of the Kumbh Mela premises, and you can see the devotees are coming in. There are around 450 to 500 million people who are expected to participate in this mega event, which is starting from January 13 to February 26. And tomorrow the festival is beginning. So around 1.5 to 2 crore people are expected to take dip in the holy river, which is a confluence of river Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati, and it's called Triveni Sangam. And definitely, like you were just saying, that preparations are certainly in full swing. There is a 7-layer security deployment that has been done from checking the vehicles to checking the identity card of people who are coming into the premises. The security is pretty tight. Any suspicious activity or any suspicious vehicle or any suspicious person will be stopped outside the barricade, and they will be checked thoroughly, and any action will be taken after that.
Thank you, Siddharth, for that update from Prayagraj about the start of the Mahakumbh, which is taking place tomorrow. Now, in Prayagraj, where millions of pilgrims gather for Mahakumbh 2025, a new luxury experience is taking shape. Agaman luxury tents are offering a unique blend of tradition and modern comfort for those seeking a more comfortable stay during their spiritual journey. Watch this report by Siddharth to see how these tents are redefining the pilgrimage experience.
When we speak of Mahakumbh 2025, it's not just the spiritual journey that it draws, but also the luxury now offered to its visitors. I'm here at Agaman in Prayagraj, where there are some luxurious tents set up for all the visitors who will be coming here and staying here. This is the facade of the tent for all the people who come here, and you can see these relaxing chairs that have been put outside the tent, and you can see how beautifully this particular area is decorated. Let's now go inside, and there are two comfortable and luxurious beds which have been kept inside this tent. You also have one charging point here along with this lamp, giving you a very luxurious and royal feeling. You also have some furniture here, luxurious furniture, a chair, very nice chair, and a table. A television set is also there. So for all the pilgrims, who are staying here, the devotees who are staying here, they can watch TV to make sure that people who are staying in this experience extreme luxury and their stay remains peaceful and calm, happy.
It really feels good being here, because I must say that our Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi and CM Mr. Yogi ji from Uttar Pradesh, they have done really a great job, because expecting this all from here, sometimes it was only one dream, but somewhere we have seen here a dream coming true.
हम यहाँ आए आज, जो फैसिलिटीज़ हमें मिली, जो अरेंजमेंट्स हमको देखने को मिले, और जो जितने वास्ट स्केल पर है ये, हम तो एक बार के लिए सच में ही गुम हो गए यहाँ आकर. बहुत अच्छे अरेंजमेंट्स हैं गवर्नमेंट के, और बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि हम लोग इसका पार्ट हैं.
In Mahakumbh 2025, Agaman is set to offer its visitors a unique blend of tradition and modern comfort. With camera person Rakesh Kumar, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting for DD India in Prayagraj.
And India's Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav chaired a review meeting in New Delhi to discuss the preparations for the upcoming Mahakumbh. During the meeting, he also launched a multilingual booklet detailing key information. The minister outlined Indian Railways' extensive plans to ensure smooth transportation for the event.
महाकुंभ के लिए पिछले 3 वर्षों से करीब तैयारियां चल रही है रेलवे में. कुल मिला के करीब 5,000 करोड़ रुपए के काम हुए हैं. इसमें स्टेशंस के काम, कई लाइंस की डबलिंग, गंगा जी पे नया पुल, कई जगह प्लेटफॉर्म्स आगे और ज़्यादा बढ़ाए गए, नए स्टेशंस बने, फुट ओवर ब्रिजेस में एक स्टैंडर्ड 12 मीटर का बहुत अच्छी डिज़ाइन बना के नए फुट ओवर ब्रिज बने. कुल मिला के सारी तैयारियों को, एक तो साइट पे वॉर रूम्स हैं, जो कि प्रयागराज जंक्शन स्टेशन पे बड़ा एक वॉर रूम है. कुछ दिनों पहले गया था मैं उसको देखने के लिए भी. और वैसा ही एक रेलवे बोर्ड के अंदर आज एक वॉर रूम नया. ये वॉर रूम 24/7 महाकुंभ के पूरे पीरियड के दौरान चलेगा. और जैसा आप जानते हैं कि 13,000 स्पेशल ट्रेन इस बार चलाई जा रही है. 12 भाषाओं में एक बुकलेट लॉन्च की गई, जिसमें सारी बेसिक व्यवस्था है, और जो अनाउंसमेंट्स हैं वो भी सारे के सारे 12 भारतीय भाषाओं में होंगे.
Now, ahead of the Mahakumbh Mela, India's Culture and Tourism Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat inaugurated the cultural Kalagram in the holy city of Prayagraj on Sunday. The Kalagram is a testament to the Ministry of Culture's commitment to showcasing the nation's timeless traditions through craft, cuisine and cultural performances, blending spirituality with artistic brilliance. Addressing the media, the minister emphasized the profound spiritual and cultural significance of the Mahakumbh. He also mentioned that the 2025 Mahakumbh is not merely a confluence of the sacred rivers Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati, but also a remarkable fusion of art, spirituality and culture.
2025 का ये महाकुंभ कला, आध्यात्मिकता और संस्कृति इनका भी एक संगम है। गंगा, यमुना और सरस्वती इन तीन हमारी दैवीय नदियों के संगम के साथ साथ में कला, आध्यात्मिकता और संस्कृति के इस संगम के कुंभ के अवसर पर निश्चित रूप से पर्यटन मंत्रालय ने देश भर से आने वाले और दुनिया भर से जो लगभग अनुमान किया जा रहा है कि लगभग 15 लाख से ज्यादा विदेशी सैलानी, विदेशी लोग इस कुंभ का दिव्य दर्शन करने के लिए आए, उन सब के लिए कुंभ को अविस्मरणीय बनाने की दिशा में प्रयास किया है।
And we'll be taking a special look at the Kumbh with our expert guest as well a little later in the show. But coming up, the latest on the runoff election in Croatia for the President's office. Regional diplomacy in West Asia intensifies, aiming to get hostages released in Gaza and chart the future course of Syria. An impeached South Korean President Yoon's lawyer says he will skip the Constitutional Court hearing next week.
I'm on a quest to explore the history of Goa. A land steeped in diverse and intersecting cultures and traditions.
I think this is one of my favorite pieces of art in the city.
Here, influences from multiple faiths coalesce in beautiful ways. From religious sites to charming villages and vibrant streets. Watch postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, polling is taking place across Croatia in the second round of the presidential election, where incumbent Zoran Milanovic faces challenger Dragan Primorac, the candidate supported by the Prime Minister and his government. Our next report has more on this contest.
Croatians began casting ballots on Sunday in a presidential runoff where incumbent Zoran Milanovic entered the contest with surging popularity.
Croatia requires a return to the constitutional framework, nothing more than that. In foreign policy, I shall treat people equally as mandated by the constitution. In matter of defense and national security, I will assert dominance over the government, as stipulated by the Constitution. Thirdly, tatium non datur, there exists no alternative to these two things. That's all there is to it.
In the first round held on December 29 last year, Milanovic secured 49.7% of the vote against 7 other candidates, narrowly missing the majority required to win outright. A long-time leader of the Social Democrats, Milanovic spent much of his career in opposition before serving as Croatia's Prime Minister from 2011 to 2016. Although the Croatian presidency is largely ceremonial, the position carries political authority with responsibilities as the Supreme Commander of the military and some influence over foreign policy. Reports suggest Milanovic has emphasized that Croatia should avoid involvement in global disputes, a stance he has maintained despite the country's membership in NATO and the European Union. Polling stations opened at 7 a.m. local time on Sunday and are set to close at 7 p.m, with exit polls expected shortly afterward. The election comes as the European Union, a NATO member country of 3.8 million people, deals with significant challenges including biting inflation, corruption scandals and a labour shortage. Bureau Report, DD India.
Key developments are unfolding across West Asia, from high-level diplomatic meetings in Riyadh to security exercises in Iran and protests in Tel Aviv. Here's a roundup of the latest updates.
Top diplomats from the Middle East and Europe convened in Riyadh on Sunday for the first regional meeting on Syria since President Bashar al-Assad was ousted. Led by Saudi Arabia, the talks included officials from key regional players, the EU and the US. This marks the first engagement between Syria's new establishment and Western officials. Earlier on Saturday, Syria's de facto leader, Ahmad al-Shara, met with Lebanon's Prime Minister Najib Mikati in Damascus to repair strained ties. Both sides agreed to establish committees to address border issues and enhance cooperation.
Syria is the natural gateway for Lebanon to the Arab world, and as long as Syria is fine, Lebanon will be fine too. It is our duty to develop these relations on the basis of mutual respect, equality and the national sovereignty of both countries, as well as to work to prevent any action that could harm this relationship or threaten the security and absolute sovereignty of the two countries over their territories.
Iran conducted air defense exercises amid rising tensions with Israel and the incoming US administration of Donald Trump. The drills are part of an ongoing war game launched on January 4th, focusing on defending nuclear facilities from attacks.
We did not add any equipment to any sites. We used the same equipment that was already at the site, utilized the same combat power with the same personnel, and carried out this exercise.
In the Israel-Gaza conflict, Israeli media reported that the Gaza ceasefire talks, which were held in Doha between Israel and Hamas, are 90% complete. The development comes amid the growing demand to call for the end of the conflict in Gaza and immediate release of hostages. On Saturday, protesters took to the streets in Tel Aviv calling for an end to the conflict and release of hostages. Families of hostages held by Hamas for the last 15 months carried posters with photos of their loved ones and chanted slogans.
Tonight, like every Saturday night, we gather here, all the families and our supporters. We're coming here to cry for a deal, and I have to say that our optimism goes up a bit.
As regional diplomacy gains momentum and military preparations continue, the Middle East remains at a critical juncture. The coming days will only reveal whether these efforts will lead to any lasting resolutions or further challenges. Bureau Report, DD India.
And the European Union's foreign ministers are set to convene in Brussels later this month to explore the possibility of lifting sanctions against Syria. This crucial meeting, announced by EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas, signifies potential shifts in EU-Syria relations. This meeting comes amid a complex backdrop of international relations where the potential removal of sanctions could have wide-ranging implications. The EU's stance on Syria remains pivotal, and the upcoming talks are crucial in determining future policy directions. Now, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which began as a regional conflict, has evolved into widespread devastation at an alarming rate. The crisis has now reached critical levels, creating profound and lasting impact not only on the two nations directly involved, but the entire world. And yet, it is showing no signs of being resolved. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay brings us more in this report.
As the Russia-Ukraine conflict is in its third year, the toll on human lives, infrastructure and international stability continues to intensify. The Russian Defense Ministry on Sunday said that the Russian troops have taken control of the villages of Yantran in the Donetsk region and Kalyonov in the Kharkiv region of Ukraine. The ministry also said that over the past 24 hours, Russian forces have carried out strikes on Ukrainian military airfields, personnel and vehicles in 139 locations, using its air force, drones, missiles and artillery. In retaliation, Ukraine's air force claimed its air defenses downed 60 out of 94 drones launched by Russia overnight. It also stated that 34 drones were lost, referring to Ukraine's use of electronic warfare to redirect Russian drones. In a recent escalation, a Ukrainian drone strike targeted one of Russia's largest oil refineries in Taneko, Tatarstan. A Moscow-appointed official confirmed that fuel oil from damaged Russian tankers has spilled into the Sea of Azov, reaching the shores of Ukraine's partly Russian-occupied Zaporizhia region. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky urged international allies on Sunday to fulfill their commitments to supply Ukraine with weapons. Zelensky also highlighted that in the past week, Russian forces launched hundreds of strikes on Ukraine, deploying nearly 700 aerial bombs and over 600 attack drones. Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
Now, Hungary's plans to hold talks with regional allies to counter the impact of higher oil prices resulting from a new round of US sanctions on Russia's oil and gas sector. US President Joe Biden's administration imposed its broadest package of sanctions so far, targeting Russia's oil and gas revenues on Friday to give Kyiv and Donald Trump's incoming team leverage to reach a deal for peace in Ukraine. Hungarian Foreign Minister said that this package of sanctions again raises severe challenges for Central Europe. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol, that is the impeached president, will not attend the first hearing of his impeachment trial in the Constitutional Court next week over safety concerns. His lawyer has accused the Corruption Investigation Office and the police of trying to execute illegal and invalid arrest warrants. Earlier this month, an attempt to arrest Yoon failed after an hours-long standoff with security personnel at the president's heavily guarded compound in Seoul. On the 3rd of December last year, Yoon imposed a short-lived martial law which triggered South Korea's worst political crisis in decades. And now let's take a look at some other stories making news around the world as well. Well, the French territory of Mayotte has been battered by a new tropical storm, Dekilady, on Sunday, just weeks after the worst cyclone hit the islands. Mayotte's people were ordered to stay indoors and store food and water as the storm is expected to bring heavy rains and strong winds once again. Dozens of runners braved extremely cold temperatures in Russia's Yakutia region for a marathon run, with the mercury hovering around minus 50 degrees Celsius. A total of 38 runners took part and underwent medical checks before the start of the event. Spanish Coast Guards rescued 62 migrants off the coast of the Canary Islands on Sunday. Migrants wrapped in red blankets, some shaking and barefoot, were attended to by Red Cross members at the port. The archipelago hit an all-time annual high for a second year in a row, with 46,843 arrivals in 2024. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. We'll be speaking with our expert guest about the Prayagraj Mahakumbh and its significance in positioning India as the spiritual destination of the world. And India's Prime Minister Modi set to inaugurate the strategic Sonmar tunnel in Jammu and Kashmir on Monday.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DDI NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, the Mahakumbh Mela, rooted in ancient Hindu tradition, is set to begin in North Indian city of Prayagraj on Monday. Over 400 million pilgrims are expected to participate in this grand event over a period of 45 days, making it the largest religious gathering in the world. DD India's Mihir Makree gives us a complete roundup of the cultural and historical significance of the festival for the country.
Hindus worldwide are familiar with the tale of Samudra Manthan or the churning of the ocean. This was a joint effort by the gods and demons to obtain Amrit, or the elixir of immortality. According to Hindu texts, this churning produced a pot or kumbh, from which the world's largest religious gathering, the Kumbh Mela, derives its name. The dawn on Monday will herald the start of this grand festival, running until February 26th in the holy Indian city of Prayagraj in the state of Uttar Pradesh. This year, up to 400 million pilgrims from home and abroad are expected over the course of 6 weeks, breaking all previous records. At the heart of the Kumbh Mela is the sacred ritual of bathing in the holy rivers Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati and the Triveni Sangam. Pilgrims believe that immersing themselves in these divine waters not only cleanses their bodies but purifies the mind and strengthens their spiritual connection with the divine. But for India, Mahakumbh is not just a religious event. It stands as a symbol of cultural heritage. The Mahakumbh Mela is recognized by UNESCO as part of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Mahakumbh 2025 is set to break 4 world records, including the largest gathering of devotees at a single event. The Netra Kumbh, or Eye Fair, will conduct eye tests for 500,000 people and distribute 300,000 specs, truly unprecedented for a single event. This year, Netra Kumbh aims for a Guinness World Record by setting new benchmarks. To position Uttar Pradesh as a premier global tourism destination, the state is showcasing Mahakumbh 2025 at major international trade fairs in Madrid and Berlin. These fairs will feature pavilions highlighting UP's heritage and invite global tourists to experience the world's largest religious gathering. More than 24 prominent universities and research institutes from across the world and India will camp in Prayagraj to study various aspects of Mahakumbh. Harvard, Stanford, London School of Economics, Kyoto University, JNU, and others will send professors, research scholars, and students to Prayagraj. Prayagraj has long been celebrated for its natural beauty, cultural richness, and historicity. Chinese traveler Shanzang, who visited India in the 7th century, described Prayagraj's Triveni Sangam as a meeting point of faith and community. According to his records, Mahakumbh once attracted over 500,000 attendees, including rulers and wealthy merchants who bathed in the holy waters and made generous donations. This ancient tradition continues to thrive as millions gather at the Sangam to cleanse their souls, participating in a timeless ritual that transcends generations. Mihir Makree's report for DD India.
Well, let's talk about this grand spiritual event. Joining us now is Dr. Heeraman Tiwari, Professor Indian Culture and History at the Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi itself. Good evening to you, Professor. The first question that really comes to mind is how can something like this mammoth exercise, 450 million visitors estimated over 45 days, be pulled off? But the fact, of course, is that this is something, I mean, the numbers have been getting bigger and bigger, but it's something that's been pulled off for centuries altogether, right here in India, in Prayagraj, the same place.
Absolutely, Gautam. You're absolutely right. As your package showed, there are so many things attached to this grand festival of this country. It's a spiritual festival. It's an economic festival in many ways, not so much economic, but of course, spiritual, religious. This congregation or a gathering, as you said, 450 odd million over 45, 46 days. It's just unimaginable. You can imagine how many countries don't even have put together population of this kind. But more importantly, as your package showed, at least 1500 years ago, Wanzang, when I was visiting here, just imagine 500,000 people gathered there. Now, the objective of this ritual, this festival, which is Mahakumbh this time, of course, there are three kumbhs, as you know, every 6 years in Prayag and in other places. There are 4 places in India where you have Kumbh, Prayag being the biggest one, of course, then Nashik, then Ujjain and Haridwar. But Prayag is the one which is called the king of Kumbh, and most of the literature talks about Tirtharaj, the king of the Tirtha, the king of the gatherings where people come to cleanse not only their body and mind, but also soul. In that context, if you look at it, for thousands of years, at least 3,000 years record is available that people have been going, although you know that every year around 14th of January, which is called Magh Mela, people have been gathering forever. But these 3 different kumbhs, Ardha Kumbh and Kumbh, which happens after 12 years, Ardha Kumbh happens after 6 years. And why is it called Mahakumbh, Gautam? Because it completes the 12 cycles of 12 years, which means it is only after 144 years that this time, this Mahakumbh is being celebrated, where millions and millions and millions of people, academics, spiritual, businessmen, social anthropologists, those who want to study the humanity. This is not just a Sangam, but the sea of humanity moving in tandem to cleanse their soul and to cleanse their mind of anything, any doubt that they might have had. And imagine in a place like Prayag, so many people, if you think that they are coming 450 million people, roughly, on average, over 1 million people will be coming, or 100 million people will be coming there every day. Imagine how much humanity will be going there and bathing, and people prepare for years and years in many ways. The devotees prepare for years, the businessmen prepare for years, the security prepares for years. And this is an occasion where the government of Uttar Pradesh, of course, has laid out a wonderful plan. New things have been brought in. The drones will be used of a very special kind. Everything is mapped out. The digital infrastructure, which has been expanded so much that people, the devotees, the visitors have no problem to go wherever they want to go. And the arrangement for people to come and go, to stay there, and also the hotels and other management that is being prepared there, it's just unimaginable. And as our package showed just now, that there are many, many institutions, business management, social sciences, and sciences institutions, which will be sending their professors and scholars to study how actually for thousands of years in this country, this kind of affair, this kind of a management, this kind of a gathering takes place, which, by the way, the objective of it is to cleanse oneself.
Yes, and one wonders, beyond the fact that, bathing in the Sangam at during this period, it can wash away your sins. What else do you think is it that draws people not just from within the country, from all over India, which is a huge country in itself, but from all over the world? There are people coming in to study it, not just as a sociological exercise, but also in terms of how things are being managed, the logistics of it, the arrangements, and of course the use of high tech. You mentioned digital, but there is the use of all kinds of technology, even to counter cyber crimes.
Absolutely, Gautam. And see, just imagine, over 32,000 policemen have been deployed, and God knows how many other kinds of security personnel. As you said, the digital technology is being used this time to prepare both for the management, for the easy access and exit of the visitors, of the pilgrims, of the devotees, of other people, but also to see that no untoward incident happens. And therefore, this becomes extremely important even for those who are doing data science, AI, etc., to understand, study at such a large scale in one small place. I mean, when you compare the area and then the number of people that we're visiting is just comparatively very small. So therefore, for centuries and in last couple of 100 years, people have really invested their academic and scientific energy to understand how it is being done. But more importantly, it depends entirely on how the devotees come. Most of them go just for one particular purpose, of course, to see the whole wonder of this place, Prayag and the Kumbh and the Sangam, Triveni, where the three rivers are supposed to, of course, are clearly visible. If you have been there, and I have been there, you can see the two different waters of Ganga and Yamuna at the point of meeting. But then the greatest of that river, Saraswati, it is considered to be kept by Ganga in its womb right from the Himalayas. And all these legends and stories have been for centuries and millennia been making people think, what is it in that place? And the texts, of course, both religious and philosophical texts, are full of this wonder that Prayag is. You have heard the story, how actually it came to be thousands of years ago. It is actually dateless. But the text, as far as back as we can go...
it's being shown in the graphic as well, right on the screen.
Absolutely. So you can see how this place becomes important. This, as you mentioned, the management of this place, the arrangement, the discipline of the devotees, the discipline which is, of course, inculcated by those who come here, all these things is a wonder. And where, therefore, you can see lots and lots of Western scholars have been interested how actually this place, this country and this particular state, Uttar Pradesh, and any government that is there has to manage it. And this time, as I said, because it is a Mahakumbh, after 144 years, very rare for people in one lifetime to see this. And also the technology that has been advanced in this country is being used to facilitate, to smoothen every activity that is supposed to be performed at Sangam, at Triveni, in Prayag. And this time also, you know, the entire district, a new district has been carved out.
Yes.
Earlier.
So do you think that no effort has really been spared to sort of position India through the Mahakumbh as a global destination for spiritual purposes, for even adventure for that matter?
Absolutely, Gautam, because you see, I said in the beginning, this is not just a spiritual and religious occasion and gathering. It is also to see how a business can be managed. As you know, lots of hotels and other organizations which are service facilities, they have planned out, many of them for charitable reasons, and many of them, of course, they'll have to take the expenses. So they prepare for the entire year, and in this case, 12 years or 6 years for making their arrangement to facilitate and to give facility to the visitors. And all the scientific knowledge that is being generated, the police, as you said, are going to use all kinds of digital AI facilities and knowledge to control or to see and to observe and to facilitate anybody who visits there. And therefore, it is something, and it is a heritage, a UN heritage anyway. But in any case, every time a Kumbh Mela happens, there is a greater and greater effort to showcase that in India, for a religious purpose, for a spiritual purpose, not only from India, but from across the world, people have been visiting and are visiting. How do we manage this thing so smoothly, so effortlessly in many ways?
Yes, and that will be on display through the course of the next 45 days as things get underway very early in the morning on a Monday. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about it.
Thank you very much.
Professor Tiwari.
The best.
Now, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Sonmarg Tunnel project in Jammu and Kashmir on Monday as well. The Sonmarg Tunnel project, around 12 kilometers long, has been constructed at a cost of over 2,700 crore Indian rupees. It comprises the Sonmarg main tunnel, an egress tunnel and approach roads. This tunnel will provide all-weather connectivity between Srinagar and Sonmarg en route to Leh, that's in Ladakh. Meanwhile, sharing a social media post of Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah, Prime Minister Modi said he was eagerly awaiting for his visit to Sonmarg for the inauguration of the tunnel.
ये सबसे पहले प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया मिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी का शुक्रिया पूरी गांधरबल की तरफ से, जो आने वाले 2 दिनों में जाडमोह टनल का इनाग्रेशन होने जा रहा है उनके हाथों। अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की तरफ से, या हम बीजेपी की बात करें क्योंकि बीजेपी इस वक्त हुकूमत कर रही है पिछले 10 सालों से, तो उनका एक बहुत ही अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है, जितनी भी तारीफें की जाए बहुत कम है।
ये अच्छा प्रोजेक्ट है, तो हम चाहते हैं गांधरबल के लोग कि जो भी इसमें चाहे मजदूर हो चाहे दूसरों को कुछ रोज़गार देना हो, यहाँ के लोगों को आपकी वसादत से हम गुजारिश करना चाहते हैं ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब से, ऑनरेबल चीफ मिनिस्टर साहब से, एलजी साहब से, कि ये यहाँ के गांधरबल के जो गांधरबल डिस्ट्रिक्ट है यहाँ के लोगों को उसमें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा रोज़गार दे, ताकि गांधरबल के लोगों को भी आज मौका मिले कि हम कहाँ पर है और टूरिज़्म को बूस्ट करने के लिए कौन कौन से इक़दाम उठाने की मज़ीद ज़रूरत है।
India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar attended the 4th convocation ceremony of the Masters Union in Gurugram, Haryana on Sunday. He said that India has the finest human resources that can bring about any transformation if led by the right executive. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. One of the 4 fires burning in around Los Angeles has been declared as 100% contained, but the wind is forecast to become ferocious again. And reigning champ Arena Sabalenka shines at the opening of the Australian Open against Sloane Stephens after a rain interruption. Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, firefighters battled on Sunday to get on top of massive wildfires around Los Angeles as winds ramped up. At least 16 people have been confirmed dead due to the fires. Meanwhile, California's fire department said that one of the 4 fires burning through Los Angeles, the Kenneth fire, is now 100% contained. The fire started on Thursday afternoon and broke out on the border between Los Angeles and Ventura counties. The National Youth Day commemorating the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda was celebrated at the Indian High Commission in Dhaka on Sunday. The event was inaugurated by High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh, Pranay Verma, who addressed the gathering and emphasized the relevance of Swami Vivekananda's teachings for today's youth. The High Commissioner highlighted the impact of Vivekananda's ideology in sharpening the character of young individuals, urging them to embody values of self-reliance, spirituality and social service in their lives.
Let us renew our commitment to Swami Vivekananda's ideals and strengthen our resolve to work hand in hand, fostering an inclusive, progressive, harmonious and prosperous future for all of us.
The interim government led by Professor Muhammad Yunus in Bangladesh has extended magistracy powers for commissioned armed force officers by another 60 days effective from the 14th of January. According to a Public Administration Ministry notification, officers of rank of captain and above, as well as Coast Guard and Border Guard Bangladesh officers on deputation, will retain special powers to arrest and use force if necessary. India's President Draupadi Murmu has greeted fellow citizens on the eve of Lohri, Makar Sankranti, Pogal and Magh Bihu, which will be celebrated on Tuesday. In her message, the President said that these festivals are symbols of our rich cultural heritage, bringing with them enthusiasm and joy. President Murmu further added that these festivals, which are also linked to the harvest, allow us to express our gratitude to the hard-working farmers who tirelessly work to feed the nation. And time now to get you some sporting updates as well, starting with tennis, because we're in the middle of Australian Open now, and Olympic champion Zheng Qinwen overcame a sluggish start to advance to the second round of the Australian Open on Sunday. Fifth seed Zheng secured a hard-fought 7-6-6-1 victory on centre court in the opening Grand Slam of the season, defeating Romania's 110th ranked Anca Todoni. Meanwhile, 17-year-old Russian Mira Andreeva also advanced to the second round with a commanding 6-3, 6-3 win over Czech Marie Buskova on the John Cain Arena. And Belarusian tennis player and former champion Aryna Sabalenka began her bid to become the first woman in a quarter century to win 3 consecutive Australian Open titles, defeating 2017 US Open champion Sloane Stephens 6-3, 6-2 on Sunday in just 71 minutes. Sabalenka is seeded number 1 at the Grand Slam tournament for the first time. The two-time Australian Open champion won her first major championship at Melbourne Park in 2023, then added another last January before raising her total to 3 Slam trophies at the US Open in September. But India's Sumit Nagal crashed out at the Australian Open 2025 after losing to Czech Tomáš Maháč in the first round. The 27-year-old Nagal, who's the 91st in the ATP rankings for singles, lost to his world number 25 opponent 6-3, 6-1, 7-5 in 2 hours and 5 minutes. Last year, Sumit Nagal made the main draw via the qualifying rounds and stunned Kazakhstan's world number 27 Alexander Bublik in the opening round. He became the first Indian men's tennis player to defeat a seeded player in a Grand Slam since Ramesh Krishnan in 1989. Jemima Rodriguez's main ODI 100 guided Indian women to 116-run victory over Ireland women in the second ODI at Rajkot on Sunday. Winning the toss and batting first, India posted their highest ever total, 370 runs for the loss of 5 wickets on the back of 3 half-centuries and Rodriguez's century. Ireland's reply fell short, reaching 254 for 7 in their allotted 50 overs. With this win, India lead and have won the 3-match series 2-0, with the last match of the series to be played at the same stadium. Devajit Saikia formally took charge of the Secretary of the Board of Control for Cricket in India, or the BCCI, on Sunday, with Jai Shah moving on to the International Cricket Council as its chairperson. The Secretary's post was lying vacant since December. Saikia, who was previously the Joint Secretary of the Board, was elected unopposed for the new role. With Saikia taking over, he will be representing the BCCI in the ICC. Saikia is a former first-class cricketer. He featured in 4 games for Assam between 1990 and 1991 as a wicketkeeper, scoring 53 runs and effecting 9 dismissals. New Zealand have announced their 15-member squad to compete at the Champions Trophy 2025 with their opening game set against hosts Pakistan on the 19th of February. The pace trio of Willow Rook, Ben Sears and Nathan Smith all feature in the squad and are set to play their maiden senior ICC event. Matt Henry will lead the pace bowling attack alongside veteran Lockie Ferguson, making up a 5-strong pace battery. Left-arm spinner Mitchell Santner will lead the 15-man squad after his appointment as his country's white ball captain last month. Senior figures Kane Williamson and Tom Latham will lend valuable experience to the squad for the tournament. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India NewsHour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code on the screen and download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India NewsHour.